pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I'll start by calling the roll. Mr. Innocenzi. Here. Mr. Bates. Here. Mr. Preston. And Mr. Carino. Here. The first item on the agenda is to approve the agenda items. Second. Thank you. Call the vote. Mr. Preston. Yes. Mr. Innocenzi. Yes. Mr. Bates. Yes. And Mr. Carino. Yes. Next item on the agenda is to approve or amend the meeting minutes from April 18, 2022.
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Any questions or comments on meeting minutes? Not to call the vote. Mr. Carino?
Yes.
Mr. Innocenzi?
Yes.
Mr. Bates?
Yes.
And Mr. Preston.
Yes.
Next up is the presentation of the financial statement for the month of April 2022.
I, of course, just realized going through this is missing 4 pages. It just has the general fund. So the summary and the donation summary is not in the packet, which I will forward, and then it will be part of, forward to you, and then it will be part of the official record. So any questions about the general fund this month? Hearing none? That's all.
All right, we'll move on to the presentation of vouchers. Entertain a motion to approve all vouchers except those for Preston and Arms.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on vouchers? Now we'll call the vote. Mr. Bates?
Yes.
Mr. Preston?
Yes.
Mr. Carino?
Yes.
And Mr. Innocenzi?
Yes.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to approve the vouchers for Preston.
Second.
Thank you. Questions on those? I'll call the vote. Mr. Carino?
Yes.
Mr. Innocenzi?
Yes.
Mr. Bates? And Mr. Preston?
Abstain.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to approve the vouchers for Arms.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Call the vote. Mr. Innocenzi?
Yes.
Mr. Carino?
Yes.
Mr. Preston?
Yes.
And Mr. Bates?
Abstain.
Thank you. Next up, old business and our finance work session.
Thank you. Continuing on the finance work session, this month is talking about purchasing processes and procedures. And this is just a high-level overview of what it takes to purchase items for the district. So when the Board of Commissioners approves the annual appropriation resolution or the annual budget, it sets the limits that the Park District can spend within those various funds by department and by either personnel, which is salaries and benefits, and all other costs. And this is set forth in the Ohio Revised Code, number 5705.38C, that establishes the legal level of budgetary control. So this is important. So having your appropriation ordinance, your budget, essentially the Board of Commissioners is telling the administration, this is what we limit you to spend by passing that. And so the appropriation resolution is the high-level summary of the detailed account lines. So it's the total, like within the salaries and benefits, those totals is the full-time, part-time, overtime, the health insurance. So there's just account lines that are charged off of to make purchases. So Exhibit 1 is the more detailed expenditures that we have internally. So this is a report that is generated monthly, which is broken down by fund, program, object, and cost center. and it's shared with employees monthly, so they know the status of their departmental budgets and the availability of funds to spend as permitted by the board. So again, the appropriation ordinance is high level, and then this rolls up to that high level amounts, but this is the detail by account. So that is, and Exhibit 1 was shared with you, so just a lot of detail. Then the next thing is another financial control. So the appropriation ordinance is a significant financial control. Another financial control is Park District employees cannot make any expenditures without having a purchase order in place. So purchase orders or POs are made against the availability of the appropriated funds by account line. So that Exhibit 1 is, all of the amounts, not to exceed that rolls up into the appropriation ordinance. So then there are purchase orders that are made and put into our UAN system that can either be issued to a specific vendor, or you can have what's known as blanket purchase orders that covers like a type of expense. So, like for example, you're going to have a good idea of what you're going to spend for the year for fuel or for electricity. But there's going to be expenses that you don't know for things such as miscellaneous hardware and items that are done by the grounds and facilities folks. So there'll be a blanket PO that'll be an amount not to exceed, say like $2,000 for construction supplies. So that's the blanket that, like, hey, we're going to spend against that. But again, you're limited by your appropriation ordinance, by account line. So there's lots of controls for spending. So again, in order to spend, you have to have that PO in place, and the total of those purchase orders cannot exceed what's been set forth by the board. So Exhibit 2 has a listing of all of the purchase orders as of May 5th, and what's outstanding, what's been closed, and the balance of those purchase orders. The Park District also has policies for making purchases. So any purchases basically under $1,000, you really don't need multiple quotes, but employees are asked to shop around for best price if possible. Then purchases totaling between $1,000 to around $5,000 require 3 verbal quotes. So again, they need to shop and make sure that, hey, we're getting the best price for that item that they want to purchase. Then any purchases between over $5,000 to right below $50,000 require 3 written quotes. And so employees, when they do make a purchase, so say it's just a mower or something like that, they have to shop and make sure that they're getting the lowest and best price. And then when they say, hey, this is the one we want to go with, then they'll submit those written quotes to the finance department prior to making that purchase. And then, of course, anything over $50,000, which is the threshold set forth by the Ohio Revised Code, the board has to make that approval. Unless it's part of a state contract or competitive purchasing, it'll come before the board, but because that legwork has already been done for the lowest and best price, exactly. So anything over 50 will come before you, but we don't have to do a bid process. If it's not part of the state bid or cooperative purchasing, you have to go through a formal bid. That's also set forth by the Ohio Revised Code. And then there's additional policies for travel and training, for tuition reimbursement, and also for petty cash. We don't do a lot of petty cash. We do minimal petty cash, if any, in the district. And then once something has been purchased and an invoice comes, it is stamped with OK to pay by the appropriate department head with the purchase order number, and then it's submitted to the finance department for payment against those account lines. So you have the high level appropriation, which all of those various account lines that roll up, and then you have purchase orders against those account lines. So those are the controls for purchasing. And that's pretty much the common way, especially within government and Ohio government. So.
Good, that's excellent.
Any questions about purchasing? Of course, there's lots more nuance and things behind that, but that's pretty much that.
This is the type of structure that